Elon goes into the Oval last night and he's standing next to Trump at the Resolute desk. And the media is like, Trump is literally looking up at him. He's looking up at him, just trying to diminish Trump. Trump was sitting at the desk because he's the actual president. You can't win, right? Like, what's he supposed to do? Pull up a little kiddie table, like one of those little fold-out TV trays for Elon to sit at and give us a presser? He was trying to give us transparency, what the media has been demanding. And Elon stood there for 30 minutes answering all these questions that have been raised by the media on what he's finding, where he's made mistakes, how transparent he's trying to be and how he's bringing it to us. Nothing will ever satisfy them, Adam. I, for one, am amazed that this kind of patriotic citizen will sacrifice of himself in this way when he's got 5, 6, 7, I've lost count, other major businesses to run. And yet you listen to the left and they would think Trump had hired the devil incarnate to gut the most important agencies of this federal government. What do you make of it?
Well, it's funny because the media sort of reminds me of like 14-year-old girls and junior high, like just sniping at everybody and like being so catty and trying to kind of start fights. I don't think they know that people don't take them seriously anymore, or that most Americans don't take them seriously at all. But I was saying to Dr. Drew this morning, because I'm living with Dr. Drew at his house because I cannot return to my house in Malibu. And I was sitting in my little bathrobe on a sofa this morning when he came in, and I was watching Fox, and they were going after, not Fox, but, the Democrats were going after Elon. And they use billionaire like a pejorative now. Like, oh, this billionaire. I mean, they literally, they're going to start using genius as a pejorative in 10 minutes. They're going to go, this billionaire genius with his billionaire genius friends. And I said to Dr. Drew, they use billionaire like we used to use bum.
Yeah.
They really do. Like in the 70s, we'd say, this guy, this bum comes in here with his buddies, and he's such a bum. They use billionaire like a pejorative. And I'm like, I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with being a billionaire. It probably means you worked a little harder, you're a little bit smarter, and you're a little bit more focused. But it does show you where the media's head's at and where the Democrats' heads are at, and that they think homeless people or illegals are noble, and people that create jobs and pay millions in taxes are the problem.
The strategy by the Democrats seems obvious now. Yes, they're trying to drive a wedge between Trump and Elon because they'd love to see Elon gone. They feel very threatened by the work he's doing. Taking a hard look at the bureaucracy and seeing where efficiencies can be found, meaning people can be laid off or fired, or we can reduce the spending, which is the last thing they want. This is all left-wing slush funds throughout these organizations. So they're terrified. That's why they're doing this. They want Elon gone. But their main, new Trump 2.0 form of resistance is lawfare. They've filed now over 50 lawsuits to try to stop Trump's executive orders. And what it seems to me as I zoom out a little and look at these, and you tell me what your impression is that we had a Congress that allocated money for various organizations. And instead of just taking that money and like training teachers how to teach or, helping them improve math scores, they went completely rogue and radical left wing with all these organizations, yes, from the Department of Education to this USAID and beyond. Now we're starting to see some other organizations, and started funding, like slush funding, DEI initiatives across the country, across the globe, shoving gender ideology down our throats at every turn. And Trump goes in there and says, stop that. I want you to return to core missions. Take all that nonsense out of there. I'm not spending anybody's money on that stuff. I want it taken down, and I want the people who are doing it fired. And they file 50 lawsuits to say, you have to spend the money the way that we told you to, without any acknowledgement that they are not on mission and haven't been for some time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting if you think about the Democrats. They loved Michael Avenatti and they loved Harvey Weinstein and they hate Elon Musk. So should we really listen to anything these people have to say about anyone ever? And yes, everything turns and tacks toward the left. You know, the ACLU used to be the ACLU when you and I were young. The Sierra Club, that was just a club of people who cared about the environment, or the Coastal Commission. Those are men and women who were caretakers for the coast. Like every major organization eventually tacks toward the left. I don't know why. It's probably baked in. It's like, why does every college, why does every school teacher and school union, like, why do they all move toward the left? It's free money. Once you get free money, you start moving toward the left. So they've all done it. They did it to themselves. I don't know why they have to do it, but the ACLU is not the ACLU anymore. It's a left-wing radical organization, and so is the Sierra Club, and so is 20 other organizations that started off with some sort of founding mission of, you know, being fair and helping the environment or helping the citizens or, you know, protecting the Constitution. It all goes left. Whenever you get a bunch of people, a bunch of college-educated people, and a bunch of free money, it goes left.
The lawfare is working in some instances, at least at the first go-round with the federal district court judges, but it's getting out of hand. Yesterday, we saw a judge, it was a George W. Bush appointee, a federal district judge, insist that the federal government restore the DEI pages that had been taken down at CDC and NIH and another related agency. Because Vivek Murthy, who was Obama's Surgeon General, his group filed a lawsuit saying, you know, doctors really rely on those pages that, you know, they didn't take down the CDC website. They didn't take down NIH. They took down select pages pursuant to Trump's anti-DEI order. Like, I don't want the gender ideology crap on government websites. It's non-factual, it's non-scientific, and it's not helpful. And so they actually filed a lawsuit over these websites, and this judge sided with the plaintiffs, saying, you've got to put those websites back to the way they used to be. Now we have federal district court judges policing individual web pages, Adam. I'm sorry, but we've lost the plot. That we should not be in a position where the judiciary, Article 3, can tell Article 2, the president, what web pages he has to have on government agencies.
Well, you know, when Trump did his first term, there were lots of provocateurs, or I should say, a lot of folks inside, saboteurs, that were still inside his circle. He didn't know it, and I don't think he knew what was going on. But there were a lot of people that were there to stop Trump and what he was doing. That was during his first term. His second term, he figured that out, and he weeded them all out of his cabinet in the White House, but they're still strewn about the country in the form of judges and other decision makers who are still very anti-Trump. So it went from a sort of inner circle to now an outer strata of people that we're going to have to do the same process to. We're going to have to weed them out.
Yeah, well, we've got to put our chips on the appellate courts because thank God we on the sign of sanity control the Supreme Court. There's a 6-3 majority for the conservatives. And I think the appellate courts will see the reason here, too. I mean, it's just this is activist for this judge to do this. Here's Trump commenting yesterday at that presser with Musk on these judges trying to stop his EOs.
It seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. We want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation.
The judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda. Will you abide by that ruling? Will you comply?
Well, I always abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum, and it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
That's the level at which he is being policed. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point, as the largest generation is hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a very big problem on our hands. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you a cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898. Get your free info kit on gold and a copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.